all of this comes from a deeper wound.
Hmm.
And when I work with my clients, there is a level of practical, but the work that I'm doing is all under the hood. It is all about where did this come from? What inner child, what inner character is activated right now? Because a lot of these behaviors that we're trying to get let go of is a coping mechanism from many, many years ago.
Welcome to Coach Soul, the podcast where we explore therapeutic ways to the best versions of ourselves. I'm your host, Steve Hudgins. I'm a licensed professional counselor dedicated to helping you navigate life's challenges. In each uplifting episode, we'll discuss mental health, relationships, self-care, emotional well-being, and personal growth. Join me and with my co-host, Kenya Evelyn, a therapeutic life coach, where sometimes we'll even welcome special guests to our show that share their experience and expertise. So let's embark on this transformative path together and discover a healthier and happier you. What a great ending. I hate leaving us in a dark hole, per se, no pun intended from the last episode. But Marla, you're sitting in this realm of things, and welcome back to the show. We just want to be able to find out, what was that dark hole moment like for you? Did you have support? Did you tell anybody? Did you just stay in the darkness because of embarrassment? What happened?
That was when the light bulb went off in the right way that said, I need help. I need
Mm.
support. I tried my darndest to heal my relationship with my body and my food by myself. I thought that I could overcome it on my own, and it doesn't work like that. And so I can remember when I had that moment where I'm like, this is not good.
Yeah.
I'm not getting out of this one. And I shared it with my boyfriend at the time and shared, like, this is not, like, I need help. And so he supported me. And I have a wonderful supportive family. They didn't quite get it at the beginning because they didn't quite understand how bad it was for me. Like, even, and I think that that is something that is to look at too. Like, no one really thought I was that bad. They didn't realize how crazy I was in my head. I was like, there was so much insanity. There was so much noise. And that's what I hear from a lot of people is
Mm.
the amount of noise that they have. And they just want the noise to stop. Right. And so the noise was so overwhelming. So I got a therapist. I was guided from the therapist to start doing 12 step. So I went into Overeaters Anonymous. And it was in that container that I was able to hear my own story. I was able to hear the other crazy things that people did with food, the other things they said about themselves. And this is a room with people from all ages, all demographics, all sizes, and all speaking the same language. And there is something so powerful about hearing other people talk, which is one of the reasons I love doing group, because to hear other people, and there's so much shame in this, the level of shame that we hold around, like, wow, I can't believe that I can't stop eating these chips. There's so much shame in that. And so to hear about someone else doing it was so healing for me. And I was able to, if you're not familiar with 12 step, there's so many different premises, but one of the ideas that I'll bring up is that whatever it is that you're letting go of, whatever behavior, so it's alcohol, right? So if alcohol is being released, what comes in its place?
Right.
You have to fill the hole. And so that was a God-sized hole, I think and so it's literally allowing what dieting would fill for me, which is the coping mechanisms, the stress I would deal with eating or not eating, and to now go to God or to another self-care tool that is for me, that is based in love and care for me rather than punishment. And so from there, at that support group is where I saw a woman who had one hand on her heart, one hand on her belly. And she was just sitting back there, giving herself some love and I was like, what is she doing? Blatantly loving herself in public, right? And so afterwards, I went up to her and I said, what were you? And she said she was doing Reiki. Are you familiar with Reiki,
I
Dr.
am.
Steve?
Go ahead and
Yeah.
explain it to the audience.
Yeah. So Reiki is a hands-on healing and spiritual practice
Mhm.
that connects with unconditional love. And it is a way to calm ourselves down. It is a way to release stress physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and to connect with the divine. And so when I plugged into this, and I've been a healer my whole life. I've always had healing hands, and I've always been very connected to God and my longing for spirituality. So it was really a perfect match and a perfect moment to find something that I could lean on that wasn't food. So that then led me to realize, whoa, it took me to even a deeper level. There's so many things that are connected to this food and body stuff. So I realized that my relationship with sexuality, whoa, that needs a total revamping here. Wow, there's so much healing in on this realm,
Mhm.
the sexuality realm. And so I learned tantra and I dove deep into some of my own woundings around sexuality, and then just opening the door to so many different ways to be with myself, whether that's through breath work, whether that's through prayer, whether that's through being of service to others. And so the healing for me took quite a while.
Okay.
No, I have seen with my clients it not taking quite so long, but I didn't have me. Right. I mean, I had me at that stage. I didn't have it really. My healing was a lot of piecemealing it together. And I'm grateful for that because now I know what works and now I know how I can serve others. So after years of learning how to be with food and feel safe, how to be okay with my body, even if I had overeaten, how to love myself and not put myself in that same category as if my weight is perfect, then I can love myself. After that, for a while, I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm good.
Mhm.
I think, I think I'm good. I think that's what, and that was another one of those moments. And it hit me. I'm like, this is what I'm to do. I'm to take all that I've learned and share it with others. So that's what I've been doing. And yes, I'm still healing. And yes, I'm still learning.
It is, well, it's a journey. When we go through some things that impact us, it is a constant journey because it's just like having a car. We've got to have maintenance. If we want the car to last a good 10 years, there's got to be maintenance, oil changes, changes of tires, rotation, a lot of maintenance that's there. And it's also the maintenance of our mind. And one of the things that I do believe in parallel therapy, meaning that as I take out, I put back into my client. But at the same time, there needs to be a third parallel, so to speak, of getting to the root cause that got us there in the first place.
Mhm.
So that as I work with my clients, as I get to the source, along the way, I help them to remember, how do we get there so we don't go back
Absolutely.
again?
Yes.
And you and I were talking off mic the importance of journaling. And I do have some of my clients to journal, do the diary of the pen, so to speak. Don't worry about punctuation. Don't worry about words. And for me, I found healing through writing. My first book, The Journey, Not the Destination. I was going on my first cruise, solo cruise to Alaska, and got the idea this is my journey. Sitting in the airport, I'm looking at how crazy are we lugging around luggage like emotions? We carry our emotions like luggage. And so you have that guilt and that shame that weighs you down. And here you are with this perception of not loving you,
Mhm.
but you were able to get out of it. You sought the help that was there, and you were able to do that. When you thought about writing this book, what was the inspiration that says, you know what? It doesn't matter what people think. I love who I am. I have the courage to write this book in such a way that that's healing. This is the reason why I do a podcast like this, is because we want to, like Kenny and I, we want to be able to help people to know therapy is not taboo. There is no shame in getting help to help your mindset to become better. When we call it out, we begin to recognize. I have a client that is going through some stuff, and I said, look, do this research. And she says the research that she's done has really helped her and to realize that she's not alone. How is it that we lie to ourselves, that we become alone? And was that the inspiration that helped you to write this book as part of healing and to let others that they're not alone?
Well, as you know, writing a book, especially a memoir, there are different stages of it, right? There's a lot of client stories in my book. And there's a lot of those moments where it's like, whoa, am I really gonna share this part of my life?
Hmm.
And that's when I had to step in and say, yeah, if this is going to help someone, then yes. I've had a lot of people say, whoa, you really went there. You really, wow, I feel like I know you.
Right.
And when it was published, that feel like that pit in my stomach of like, whoa, people were gonna read this. And it's interesting because there's that feeling of the people that already know me and even my family, like, whoa, I didn't even realize to this extent. Like, and when did, all the stories,
Right.
when did that happen? How did that? And I remember that. And I didn't know that you were feeling that way at that point, or all these things and the impact that that makes. And I've heard it said so many times, you're telling my story. I
Mhm.
feel like I heard my story. And for me, to be able to reach people and to resonate and to let them know that there is a way to heal. If I can heal, I think anyone can.
Oh, for
And you
sure.
said something really important that I want to touch on, which is that all of this comes from a deeper wound.
Mhm.
And when I work with my clients, there is a level of practical, but the work that I'm doing is all under the hood. It is all about where did this come from? What inner child, what inner character is activated right now? Because a lot of these behaviors that we're trying to get let go of is a coping mechanism from many, many years ago. And it's not working anymore. At one point, it did work. Like food was my friend, food
Right.
helped me. And so to curse it is not appropriate. Like, thank you for helping me. I don't need that anymore. But I may not, but there may be a part of me inside that is still afraid to let that go. And so we're looking at deeper connection. And when we connect the dots between the wounding and the food, that's when I have seen miracles happen. Because a lot of people come to me who've already done a lot of work. They know their story, they know, what has happened, but they can't seem to let it's gotten better, but not, it's still the noise is still there. So when we connect the dots and we get to go deeper into these places that are still holding on to this behavior and find love and compassion for it and give it other ways to deal with life, our life changes. And from there, usually the weight issue that people are coming with is not really an issue anymore.
In your book, when you talk about your stories and the clients that's there, how did you come up with the title? And go ahead and explain the title because I want you to announce your book. How did you arrive to the title? Because it's very unique and it speaks volumes to what you're doing with your own clients and helping them to self heal, so to speak. Go ahead and talk about a little bit about what's inside your book that could probably resonate with someone who's going to pick it up and needs to read it.
Yes. So my book is called Befriend Yourself, Finding Freedom with Food and Peace with Your Body. And so when I started writing the book, I was like, okay, what was it? What did I actually do during all these years? What
Mhm.
it was the magic. And it hit me. I'm like, oh, I've become my own best friend. I have learned to befriend myself. And my reality, my gift that I've been given in my life is that I have really great friends. I was born into a family with two sisters. They're my best friends. My mom and I are super close. The community that I have around me, I have such good friends. I
Mhm.
know what it's like to be a good friend and have a good friend. And yet I wasn't doing that for myself. And so I looked and I'm like, oh, that is where, let me say it like this. Sometimes people will say to me, okay, but what do I do? Like, how I get your whole concept, but what is the practicality of this? And what I say is, in each moment, we ask ourselves, would I say that to a friend? Would I treat my friend that way? What would I say to a friend? How would I encourage a friend in this moment? And so if it's you're already full and now you want to shove more food in your mouth, would a best friend encourage you to do that? Like, how can we become our own best friend? When we, and that's why the be is there. It's not like befriend, it's be, it's the embodiment of
Right.
friendship. It's being friend, the listener, the lover, the encourager, the one that says, right? That sort of friend, the friend that celebrates us, the friend that has pleasure, the friend that prioritizes. Think about all those things that I just said. And then take all of that and put that into your relationship with your food and body. And tell me how it can't turn it to positive. There's just no way. It is the magic that happens.
When you think about befriending, that can be tough in itself because I know what I know of me. And we tend to prejudge ourselves and think, well, Marla, you're going to judge me, or that person's going to judge me. But we're looking through a judgmental lens already. We're projecting that ourselves that we're no good. Nobody can befriend me. Nobody can love me. Why? What do I have to offer?
Well, that's
And
not the friend voice.
right, those are the lies that we tell ourselves
Yeah, you're
that
listening to the wrong voice.
exactly it becomes so part of what I look at is I try to help clients to look at is it's the self-talk. We feel judged already because we're judging ourselves. And to me, like you and I did on our own books, we own our story. How can anybody accuse us of anything when we own something already? There is no accusation that's there. That to me is the beginning of befriending,
Yeah.
being able to start owning your story. And so you put your story into pen, you put it on paper. When you think about what would be one piece of advice if you were limited to words, what would that be to speak to those who are struggling like you did?
Well, you already said it. What I always say to that question is, how are you talking to yourself? The
Mm-hmm.
things that we say to ourselves and the way that we speak to ourselves is way more helpful or detrimental, depending on where you are, than anything. If we are constantly saying something negative to ourselves, we're biting our own butt. We can't move forward if we're pulling ourselves back with negativity. If you're already spewing negativity when you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror, or every time you go to your food, if you're like, oh, I'm going to mess this up, comparing yourself to others and all of the things that we will say, that's not helping.
Right.
No, it's easy to say don't do that and then to stop. However, I think it's an ongoing process, right? Like I'm always checking myself. Wow, and did I just say that?
Right.
And where did that come from? Is that true? Do I want to believe that? Is that helpful? And so it is the awareness of the things that we're saying to ourselves. And so I feel like that's a whole other topic,
It can
really.
be.
It really can be. And it's an important one to dive into.
So, Marlon, when you think about, the Body Compassion Collective that you have on your website and things of that nature, if somebody is struggling and they want to feel comfortable because they can identify with your story today, what are some ways that people can reach out to you that can find this help?
Yes. A couple different things come to mind. I have a free course called Breaking the Cycle of Emotional Eating, and it's free, but it's really jam-packed with a lot of good information on emotional eating, which is also dieting and all the things, the big umbrella of emotional eating, binge eating, purging, all this stuff. And within that, there's an opportunity to reach out to me and connect with me. Also, if you get my book, which is out in audio as well, you can come to my website, which is loveyourbodyloveyourself.com, and you'll see on the book page where you can put in your information that you bought the book, and you will get my Body Compassion Collective course for free, which is, it's a really good deal.
I mean, nowadays, anything, okay, so my mind goes, see, here's this lie. What's the catch, Marla? We can go in there. What's the catch? But to me, when you have people who have gone through things, the community is important. So things like your offering is free. Being able to do a podcast that's free to help people to become better in a community, to me, it just helps the community grow stronger. It's when we don't share information, it's when we withhold things that, to me, the community starts falling because no one's going to understand me. And we start believing in those lies. Marla, it's been a great pleasure in being able to listen to where you've been, how you got here, and just the compassion, the empathy, the drive to put something out there. And it can become scary when we put ourselves out there to try to story and say, look, I can identify with you, is very important. And so that's what Coach Soul is about, is helping you to have that inner coach, and it's done right. And so to our listeners, and we miss Kenya. Kenya will be back shortly. But until next time, take care and God bless. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode on Coach Soul. As we wrap up, we want to remind our listeners of a few key points. This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not substitute professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The content shared here is based on professional opinion but may not apply to everyone's situation. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider before making changes to your mental health care. If you're in a crisis, please seek immediate professional help or contact a crisis hotline. Listening to this podcast does not create a therapist-client relationship. For personal advice, please consult with your licensed mental health professional in your area. Remember, your mental health journey is unique. While we hope this information is helpful, it is crucial to work directly with the qualified personnel for your specific needs. Thank you again for tuning into Coach Soul, and we'll see you next time.